Another turnover for Utah. Edwards gets it back and threw it.
Wide receiver 6'2", 203.
There are a lot of athletes out there that are crazy fast, crazy explosive, they can jump out of the gym. But here's the thing about being at that level of performance, you can't sustain that every time. A lot of you have seen testing done with force plates, like Myles Garrett here. Here's the thing, those things are so expensive. This literally says request a quote. That's how you know I can't afford one. So what am I supposed to do if I can't afford a force plate, but I still want to get the most out of my performance? Well, here's what you can do. All a force plate does is measure how high you're jumping and comparing that to your max vertical jump. The reason you would want to do this is because it can check how fatigued your nervous system is, but there are other ways to check this that aren't just an expensive force plate. So a really cheap option would be a vertical jump tester that you could just kind of hang up on the wall. There's some pretty cheap ones here. But if you didn't want to do that and you just wanted something that was quick and easy, then I might recommend testing your grip strength. Your grip strength is something that is one of the first things to show signs of fatigue. There's some really good research done on how the brain interacts with your grip strength, and that's why dynamometers were invented. Basically, it shows your peak grip strength. The one I'm showing here that I use is at my work, which is a clinic. So, it might be like $250, $300. But I promise you there's like cheap $20 ones out there. I'll put a picture up or something. Okay, full transparency. I'm out of storage on my phone, so we're going to podcast the rest of this. But I still want to get this video out to you guys because I think this is a really cool tool, and there's a reason that professional athletes are using this. The reason is you don't want to come in to your best, most important session of the week, like a max sprint session or a vertical jump session, when you're in a severely fatigued state. You want to be fresh to give your best effort on those days, because even if you're trying really hard, if your nervous system isn't ready and isn't prepared, you're not going to get the right output to actually maximize the stimulus and get benefit out of that workout. So what that means is you'll end up doing, if you're fatigued, you'll end up doing your most important session with all of the injury risk and less benefit. And so it does make sense that if you come in and you're really fatigued, like if you have a vertical jump tester and you say like, man, I'm way lower than usual, like I'm going to take a rest day or do like a lighter day today and then come back in a day or two and retest and try and give a good quality effort later, that can be really beneficial to your long-term development as an athlete. And so there are a few things that I think we should consider when trying to implement this. The most important thing for this to work is that it has to be measurable so that you can compare it from week to week. You want something like a vertical jump or grip strength because you can measure that from week to week and compare and say, oh, I'm much lower today, so maybe I should take more rest. Or, hey, my grip strength is the same as it usually is. That means we're all good to go ahead and train. What you don't want is something that goes based on feel, because your feelings might be wrong compared to the actual output. You might feel like you're giving 100% effort on a sprint, but it could still be much slower than your personal best. That's just the reality of the situation. Another thing that's really important is that it's quick. We want this to be something that we can just add into the warm-up that doesn't disrupt the flow of the workout. Because if it takes a long time, if you have to put a bunch of plates on a bar, or if you have to set up a bunch of complicated equipment, it's going to feel like a hassle, and you're going to be much more likely to just skip it and say, I'm going to do the session because I feel fine, whatever. If it's quick, I think you are probably 100 times more likely to actually implement this into your training consistently. The last thing is that we want it to be low cost. And I don't mean financially like Drake and Jay-Z pound cake low cost. I mean, we want it to take nothing away from the rest of our session. So technically, you could load up a max deadlift for that day at the beginning of every session and compare it to your overall deadlift PR. And it would give you a pretty good indicator of your central nervous system fatigue. But the cost would be so high because it would take away from the sprint training or the jump training that you're about to do that I don't think something like that would be worth it. The injury risk is really high, and so that's something I would consider a high cost that's associated with. So to sum up, I would say your best bet is to pick something that you can quickly measure at the beginning of every session. I really like grip strength, but even if you had to do something as bare bones as putting your max vertical jump on a wall and just recording yourself touching up near it and seeing, okay, I'm pretty close to my max vertical jump. Hey, I'm way lower. I can't reach nearly as high. I think those kind of metrics would still be pretty useful for your expectation going into a session. It's not like, oh, I need to be 100% fresh every time, but you should have some degree of ability to perform even in practice. You don't want to be drudging through a season completely worn out and burnt out. It's much better to stay fresh and be ready for the next high quality session than to do a bunch of really poor sessions back to back to back. That being said, I'm going to get out of here. Hope you guys like this video and let me know in the comments. Is this something you think you'd implement into your training, or do you think it's just kind of a fun little gimmick that the professionals can use, but I don't think I would really use it? Let me know what you think, and if you've got questions or ideas for another video, go ahead and drop those in the comments. I'm always reading those, and you guys give me such good suggestions. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, share it with a friend, like the video, and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow and helps me get my content out to more people. If you like this, stay tuned, and I'll see you guys in the next one.